This time I chose a whiskey to drink. Whiskey sours were my mother's favorite. I'd watch her sip them at every family function. She always drank with such sophistication. I tried to mimic her as I held my glass and picked up the heavy bottle of alcohol. I retrieved my coat from the kitchen and strolled through the house. I was its new mistress, and at that precise moment I was going to sit on the front porch. I was going to enjoy the blizzard firsthand. I grabbed my handbag just before exiting the foyer. It wouldn't do to get locked outside, especially since I hadn't seen another house for miles. "Are you trying to die from hypothermia?" A warm, cheerful voice whispered into my ear. "You may get a euphoric thrill in the beginning, but I assure you it won't last." My emerald eyes flickered as I tried to make sense out of what I was hearing. I moved my head and struggled with my eyelashes. They were concealing my vision. "I'm celebrating," I admitted in a slurred voice. "I can see that," he said, towering over me. I opened my eyes fully and stared at a man dressed in a thick black fur coat. He was huge in size and dwarfed my tiny frame, but he was magnificent to look at. I lost my breath while staring. "Who are you?" I asked, pulling myself upright and into a sitting position. I gradually acknowledged where I was and that perhaps I'd had a bit too much to drink. Judging by my empty glass, I was correct. The man stooped to my eye level and flicked wind-blown flakes from my black lashes. He was African American. I widened my eyes in surprise. His skin was a medium brown, a shade very similar to caramel. His eyes were a toffee brown. He was an attractive man, practically gorgeous, almost perfect. Were most black men this good-looking? I leaned in closer and continued to stare. I inspected every feature of his face. He was something to behold. I quickly glanced away. Those thoughts were new to me, foreign, and quite disturbing. Black men were predators. They stole from society. They ended up in jail. They were repeat offenders. "You have to go," I said, realizing as I spoke how much panic I allowed my words to reveal. He looked at me. He seemed to be a bit confused. "You have to get out of here." My voice rose in volume. He spoke suddenly, realizing that I was afraid of him. "The roads are too dangerous to drive on. No one can make it down that mountain. Besides, there's a state of emergency in effect." "You cannot stay here," I repeated. "Don't be ridiculous. Come inside. The cold has obviously affected your thinking," he said, rising and turning toward the house. "You can't go in there," I yelled out in alarm. I would have grabbed his arm, but I hesitated and he moved away. "Why the hell not? I live here," he said, as another revelation hit him. Did this woman think that he couldn't afford such a place as this? Was she assuming that he was a thief looking for his next heist? The man grimaced. I scanned the stranger with cautious green eyes. "But you're black." The declaration came out in a whisper. I thought someone else owned this house." He gave me a strange look before he spoke. "This is definitely my house. I've been paying the mortgage on it for years, but since we're getting to know each other," he said sarcastically. "Who are you?" "I am Alexandria Clinton. I'm house-sitting. But how can this place belong to you? It's beautiful." "I assure you that I am the owner," he said in a cautioning tone. "Is there some reason why you think this place isn't mine?" "But you're black," I repeated bluntly. "Yes, I am," he acknowledged. "So are my mother and father. I even have brothers who are black, and nieces, nephews." Should I go on? He waited for me to respond. I have never been in the house of an African American." I tried to clarify my remarks. "Well, today has obviously changed that. Do you like my home?" "I do, but how can you afford it?" "The same way you can afford that expensive car parked over there," he said, pointing toward the snowy driveway. I began to speak, but he cuts me off. "Before you say another word, let's go inside. If you keep talking out here, I might not continue to be so gracious."